is.
Yours is legit, man.
I grew it out actually just for this episode. I'm just kidding.
Took like some vitamins and stuff.
Yeah, took some, what is it, B12? I don't know. What do the girls take? Collagen?
I think collagen, yeah.
I'm taking collagen from my mustache, everyone. But, dude, welcome to the show.
Dude, thanks for having me.
It's been way too long. We've been trying to get this done for what? A month? 2 months?
Yeah.
I saw you in the airport.
Yeah, it was the airport.
Yeah.
That was going home for Christmas or coming back?
Dude, it was going home for Christmas, actually. That's a
so
wild
it's
time.
December.
So here we have you here. And you're the first guest actually in the studio. Besides Allie, but she's wifey, so it happens. But man, well, thanks for coming on. I'm pumped to have you. This is an opportunity. My friend Payton Sellers, he's on the podcast.
Hey everybody.
We've been friends since high school, really.
Yeah.
And since then, it's like, I don't know. We've all been super busy. It's hard to find time to catch up. So It's kind of nice.
No, it was great. Yeah, I remember we met, my freshman year? So
I think so. Yeah.
14.
That's when I was hanging out with Nick and all those guys a bunch.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But, I mean, I got to ask you this because I don't really think I understand the origin story of this. Your name's Payton Sellers.
Yes.
Payton.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I always referred to you as Payton until I heard that your nickname's Pudge. Where did that come from?
Well,
Pudge
do you
Man.
want Pudge Man?
Yeah.
Pudge Meister. Do you want the real story or do you want the fake story that's a little bit cooler?
A fake story. Well, how?
We can do both.
Let's do both.
Let's do both. So the fake story is, and I have to get into it. So
yeah. Go for it.
Okay.
Story time.
So when I was born.
Okay.
And again, this is all a lie. But when I was born, I was 12 pounds as a baby. Fattest baby. Doctors wrapped me up in tinfoil, called me a Chipotle burrito. So, anyways, none of that is true. But, people always ask. And so, I've, low-key kind of built this massive story out. Because people are like, oh, was it like a C-section? And I'd be like, no. And then people are like, your poor mom. I go, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Brutal.
She went through it, She went to the hospital 9 times before I was born. I just build on this story more and more.
That's so good.
And people just eat it up. And they're like, because the real story is actually, it comes from Clayton.
Okay. Our good friend
Nick.
Clayton.
Yeah. And from high school. So I remember when I was a freshman in high school, I was hanging out with Nick and Clayton. And we were at someone's birthday party, and I remember I was just being super annoying. I was being super annoying to Nick and Clayton. That was kind of just my shtick, I just loved if Clayton was talking, I just interrupt him. I was such an a-hole. So I just interrupt him, like, oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. This guy's a loser. Anyways, so.
Sometimes people need that, especially Clayton. Clayton, if you're listening to this, we love you, but you need a little Pudge interruption sometimes.
You just need a little Pudge in your life.
Yeah.
So I remember, I was being super annoying, and then he was like, he got all flustered, but it was kind of like, I couldn't tell if he was seriously mad or whatever, but he's just like, I remember he pointed in my face, and he was like, I'm going to come back. He's like, I'm going to think of a name for you that is just horrendous.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll be back in 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And sure enough, as he said it, 15 minutes on the dot, he comes back, because I was just with Nick, and whoever else.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he comes back and he goes, Pudge. He's like, because you're so fat. And I was like, I want
to make something very clear. You were not fat in high school.
I was like 100 pounds as a
freshman. You're a little guy.
I was tiny. So I just started laughing, but Nick hears it. And
Oh, yeah.
Nick.
Game over.
If Nick latches onto something, everyone latches onto it. So he's like, yes,
Pudge.
You are Pudge. So then Clayton then tells Kyle, who's Kyle's my grade, and Kyle was on the basketball team with me at the time. So Clayton tells Kyle tells the whole basketball team. So now everyone in basketball is calling me Pudge, and then everyone in your friend group starts calling me Pudge. And so it just kind of stuck like that.
I mean, I think both are good origin stories. The baby coming out as a Chipotle burrito, and then that one. Come on. No, that is funny though. Clayton, that guy, when he would think about an insult, genius. He really was creative. He's like, the gears in his brain would turn, and he's like, okay, let me think about this for a minute. How can I make this the most personal attack to this guy? And it doesn't even make sense because you're not fat or anything. He's just like Pudge. It's a bad name. I'm going for it. Although I don't know. I think it's a good nickname.
I love it.
Yeah.
So then first of all, the reason I came up with the fake story is because the real story, there's also like more background because they used to call Clayton Clud.
Yeah.
And they used to call me Pud. Or just Nick. Only Nick would call me Pud.
Okay.
And so like Clayton kind of had, that muse. He kind of drew upon Pud and Clud. So like there's a lot of information.
That's impressive.
It kind of, all came together.
Yeah.
But so like, if I'm introducing myself, because I'm single, so if I'm going out on a date, or if I'm, I don't know, at a party or whatever, and I'm introducing myself to somebody for the first time, first of all, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't really take myself seriously, so I don't really want to be like, hey, my name's Payton.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I
don't know.
I'm with you on that.
That doesn't really fit me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Pudge. I'm Pudge. It
I
just
like
works. And then, people started asking, and I was like, well, one, the story's too long.
Yeah.
There's so much information that, like, is pertinent. That's like, And then two, girls would start to be like, that's mean. I don't want to say that.
Really?
And I'd be like,
no, listen, this is what I call myself.
you're being weird. Yeah, you're being weird. Like, you're killing the vibe.
Yeah. Like, stop it.
So I know. So I was just like, I'll just come up with something that is kind of just irrefutable. You can't really be like, oh, I'm not going to call you Pudge. Like, no, you have to call you Pudge.
Yeah. I was a 12-pound baby. You got to call me Pudge.
Checkmate,
I love it, dude. I think it's good. Like, I love what you said about, like, you don't take yourself too seriously. Because I think, I work in a corporate job, and it's ridiculous. Some of the people there that are
Really?
like, they just show up. They're buttoned up every single day. Like, you can't make a joke around them. It'll fly over their head, and they're like, okay. And you're like, no, I was making a joke. Like, I was trying to be funny here. And, like, it's just ridiculous. But then, like, I don't know. My boss is hilarious. He's from Baltimore.
Hey.
He'll be on, like, a sales call and drop the F-bomb on people. If they, like, say something stupid, he's like, no, that's effing dumb. It's like, okay.
I love that.
But, like, I don't know. Why do you not take yourself so seriously? Like, I think it's an important thing for us to do. Like, life is supposed to be fun.
I agree. I've been this last like month or two, I've had some interesting experiences with girls, and then like I recently started a new job, and so like kind of just a lot of things coming together, and I started to kind of realize, I'm like, you know what? Like when something bad happens, I've kind of always thought this, but it kind of just like surfaced recently. Is like when something bad happens, I realized like, wait, maybe that's part of the journey. Like maybe that's what will make me, the person that I'm gonna be one day.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, I especially found like joy in it. I realized this again like on the mission too. Like when you're just like, I don't know, you just were outside, doors getting slammed in your face.
Brutal.
Sometimes because I was in Baltimore on my mission.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. So we should talk about that.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was great, but sometimes it'd be raining super hard, and then companions just annoys the crap out of you. Sometimes it was there's just like so many things going wrong that it's almost hilarious.
Oh, dude, so many times.
More
than I can count on, especially on the mission. It's like
it was amplified.
Yeah, insane.
So so like I don't know, that's what I've kind of been realizing lately too. Another experience I remember I was cramming super hard for like a test one day, and it was like a week. I think I put like 20 hours of studying just in like a couple days before the test.
Jeez, dude.
Ended up pulling a 60% on the test.
Oh,
I was like,
that's brutal.
And I remember praying, and I was like, hey, like that's not really fair. Like I did my part, and then I like asked, did a little prayer, and then I just remember kind of being like, dude, it's one test.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
That's fair.
And so like that like kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and like that was kind of just like a cascade. All those things kind of just came together. So yeah, I just feel like, like it's part of the journey.
Yeah, dude.
And,
I love
and so
that.
like, and then sometimes what's good too is I also have a couple of friends that don't really take themselves seriously.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of just pull off of their energy. Love to make a joke every once in a while.
Dude, you have to.
A well-timed, your mom joke, or that's what she said joke. Like, come on.
Your mom. Those were all over high school. That was like our entire conversation with people. It's like whenever we hung out, it's like your mom jokes all the time.
All 24/7.
Yeah.
And like it's pretty funny, So
it's
I
good
don't know.
Stuff.
So yeah, things like that just kind of all coming together, and it's like you ever just be like so focused on something, and then it's just draining.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I just don't have any other energy for anything else.
Yeah.
When I'm taking, like just one aspect of my life way too seriously.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of takes over, and then I don't know. I feel like there's just like not enough time to just be as serious as you can.
Yeah, dude, and I think like it's important to
Yeah, what do you think?
like it's important to take yourself not so seriously because life is it's hard as it is, and if you're taking all the fun out of it yourself, like that's a dangerous route to go.
You're done. Yeah.
What you said made me think of something. Have you ever heard of the phrase Amor Fati? It's a Latin phrase that means love of fate. And like the last episode that we just recorded was actually about this. And it came out today, which is weird that you brought this up.
That's really cool.
The whole idea is like, instead of like, it's embrace the fate that is given to you. And so instead of saying like, I don't know why this happened to me. So you got like a 64% on your test. You're like, damn, this sucks. Like I studied for 20 hours. What's going on? Yeah. But really it's like the whole entire concept of that is, okay, well, this happened to me and I'm going to be better for it in the future. And a lot of it can be like a springboard to be like, you know what, maybe I needed to double down and study harder, or maybe I needed to readjust my study habits or whatever. Maybe it was like a hard week and I had a lot of like piled on my plate and I just couldn't really focus, like whatever it was. Yeah. Those lessons, it's usually like the hardest parts of your path. Like it makes the journey and it makes you who you are, like you said, like, 100%. And, I don't know, the last podcast I talked about when I was sick and stuff, and I don't know if you remember much of that.
We talked about it at the airport.
Yeah. But I was like 135 pounds. Dude. I thought I was dying. And like, it's interesting because that experience made me want to be like, you know what? I'm going to run and I'm going to push my body to like its limits because I know what it's like to not have that. Yeah. Same with like the podcast. Like during that time, I listened to podcasts all the time because I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't look at screens or anything. And so I was like, I'm just going to turn to podcasts. And so I don't know. It's just like all these things that I thought was like a crucible for me. And it was like the worst time of my life. It turned out to be, like I said, like a springboard to go and do things like this. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because like life sucks sometimes. Dude, it does. But it's all those times where like, you know, it sucks, but you keep going that you learn the most. So
100%. I like, you know, I've had a string of really bad dates lately.
Oh no. Can you tell us about any of them?
I can. Right. There's one specifically that I'm thinking of that is, it'll make your skin crawl. But let me tell you, the lore, because I can tell this story, worth every second.
All right. I'm ready.
So, and then, that kind of goes into the, like, don't take yourself so seriously. Because, like, by the end of it, I was just like, that was crazy. I got to tell the boys, you know?
I'm so excited.
Okay, so, I probably shouldn't name drop her. So I'll come up with a fake name.
Call her Angie.
Let's call her Angie.
Yeah.
Let's call her Angie.
It's fair.
So Angie, I have known Angie for like three and a half years.
Okay.
So I went up to Idaho 3.5 years ago from one of my homies, Baby Blessings.
Oh, nice.
And, he was having a baby or whatever. I go up there. I had Mutual on my phone.
Okay.
I was bored. I'm scrolling. I'm swiping as one does, you know?
Right.
And, I ended up matching with Angie, and but she lived in Idaho.
Okay.
And so
Rexburg or?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember. Actually, I think it was like
I lived up there, so that's why I asked.
Like Burley or something, some tiny town. Yeah. Just in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
The potato farmers are dangerous, man.
Whoa, very.
Anyways, Angie.
So Angie, anyways, I matched her. I get like her phone number, Snapchat, whatever it is, the whole 9 yards, and then I go back to Utah, and I was like, it's just too far. Yeah. Like, love you, Angie. Have a huge crush on her. Like, physically, I'm so attracted to Angie. Like, I think she's beautiful. Till this day, I'm like, she is so pretty. But she's kind of loco crazy in the mind. Okay. So, anyways, like, we, like, kind of stay in contact. We, like, text, Snapchat, whatever, send memes on Instagram, whatever it is. But nothing really happened. She just lived too far. So I was like, whatever. We ended up hanging out a couple times. Yeah. But then she moved to Saratoga like a year ago.
So she moved to Utah.
Yeah.
All right.
And her family was here. She had, her mom and dad are here, but she was doing like college and also living with her uncle and stuff. So, anyways, she moves here and I'm like, oh, cool. But at the time, I was also in a relationship, so I was kind of like, off limits. Yeah. I'm not going to really talk to you. Yeah. Like, I met you through a date.
I'm a good guy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, but we're friends. Like, no, I met you through a dating app. Yeah. Like, that's weird. Anyways,
Can't do that.
She was kind of like, why don't we talk? And I was like,
Like,
because I'm loyal. I don't know.
I'm a good guy.
Yeah, I'm a good guy. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I end up breaking up with, or I got broke up with. That was interesting. That was a very interesting breakup. But
Uh-oh.
there's so much to unpack there. But anyways, I'm single now, and this was like beginning of March, so like pretty recent. And I remember hitting her up. I was like, "Hey, like you're in Utah now. Like let's go on a date." She goes, "Sure." So I take her out to dinner. We get a sweet treat, and then she does like hospice care or whatever, and so she had to like leave because she had to go clock in or whatever. So she had to leave at 9, and it was like 7:30 or 8. And again, I've had a crush on this girl for forever, so I was kind of like, I'm just gonna like put the offer out there, you know, little bait, see if she bites. So I go like, "Hey, like we can go back to my house," and she's like, "Sure," and I'm like, "Yes,
Let's get got it,
like,
punch secured."
Finally, you know. And so we go out to my house, and then again, I'm like, "Hey, like we can watch a movie." Throw it out there. She bites. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm down." So I'm like, "Let's go." My roommates
2 for 2.
I'm 2 for 2. I'm doing great. These are
Yeah.
layups.
That's
these are
pretty
easy.
good.
Yeah. So my roommates are downstairs using the couch. So I was like, my room.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, this is where things like this is where we, you know, get the job done.
Yeah.
Like if she's in your room, like come on now.
You're going 3 for 3.
You should be. I should be. But hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
This is where it gets interesting.
This is where it gets interesting. So we go into my room or whatever. We're watching this movie. At this point, the door's closed.
Okay.
We're in my bed under the covers watching. And I like put on a random movie. What did I? Oh, I put on The Truman Show. Probably not a great movie to make out to, but like I just was kind of like, that's a good movie. I just clicked it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we we're in my bed. So I like put my arm around her. I do, you know, the smooth.
Yeah, the special move.
Come on out. And I'm like, "Hey, like scoot over." And she was 100% serious. She's like, "Oh, I have a weird thing with physical touch. I don't want to cuddle." And I'm like, we're in my bed, and I'm not going to kiss this girl. I was like, oh, no. You know, like, I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So, like, sorry, that's super awkward. But the most awkward, I'm literally pencil form. I'm right here, and I'm like.
Now you're just enduring at this point.
Oh, and at this point, I'm like, dude, 9 o'clock can't come fast enough. You know? So
like,
I'm laying there.
Oh, man.
Like this, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, this is great. So we're still chatting because I'm like, well, I got to try and make the time pass somehow. And so we're talking. She's talking, whatever. I don't really remember what we're talking about. But, like, as we get closer and closer to 9 p.m., as we're inching slowly, she, like, then turns on her side. And then is now, you know, not just talking to the TV, but rather like to me, and we're right next to each other. So I'm on my side now, and now we're like next to each other again, still not touching, but like we're close. And I like make a joke, and then she laughs and she grabs my arm, and I look down, and I'm like, I thought you said you had a weird thing with physical touch, and then she laughs, she's like, ha 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 ha.
Did you tell her that?
Oh yeah, I said that. Yeah,
really?
I was like, I thought you said it because like, I thought I was saying it like kind of like a jab, but also like I kind of meant it flirty. Yeah. So I was kind of like, what's going on? Like you're contradicting yourself. So, anyways, yeah, she grabs my arm, and then she's still grabbing my arm, and then at this point she's staring at me.
Yeah.
Big smile, staring at me, completely silent. You know, batting her eyes.
All the signals are there.
All the signals. That is green light, go. Like, shoot your shot. That's a layup. So I lean in. Yeah. And she swerves me.
What?
Crazy time. So I literally was like, wait, what just happened? And then she was like, she had that big old smile still on her face. And I was like, wait, no.
You're like,
no. Like, what just.
Yeah. I think it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Get out of my house. So anyways, I was like, that was crazy.
That's wild.
So yeah, I was like, that was crazy. Okay. And so then I was kind of like, oh, then no, this happened. Then I go, that's crazy. I throw my hands up and I kind of just drop my hands like next to her. She grabs my hand and we start holding hands.
You're like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm like, whoa,
I'm going through the most wild array of mixed signals right now.
I'm getting green light, red light, green light. Like, what do I do?
Yeah, you're playing Squid Games.
Like, this is, this is difficult. Yeah, I was basically fighting for my life.
Yeah.
But anyways, then, and don't worry, it gets so much worse.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, don't.
What time is this, do you think?
This is like 8:45. We're getting close.
Got 15 minutes.
So I got 15 minutes. But basically, there's nothing really that happens in the last 15 minutes, but we're holding hands, and so I'm just like, whatever. She swerved me, so I'm not gonna like lean in. But again, she's
Your
still
dignity
like,
is in the
she's
gutter.
exactly, yeah. She's still like staring at me. Like I can kind of like feel her right there, and I was like, so I gotta like look at her and then kind of look away because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, now it
what's
sounds like
going
a
on.
scary movie.
Exactly. Like I'm looking away. I'm
Like she's just staring at you like this the whole time.
No blinking.
Yeah. This is terrifying.
Oh my gosh. So anyways, 9 o'clock hits. I'm like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. I should probably take you home. So I stand up, and the way where everything was, I stand up, and then she stands up, but she's in my way. Like the remote was behind her on my desk. And so she's standing up right there, and she's not moving. And I'm like, I got to get to the remote behind you. And again, big smile, staring at me, silent, batting her eye, doing all the things, kind of like swerve, like kind of like, I don't know what this is, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
getting giddy.
Exactly. Like very much showing me that she wants me to kiss her. And so then I'm like, okay. So I grab her by the hips.
Yeah.
And I pull her in. At this point, we're touching completely. There's no, I have this weird thing of physical touch. And I'm leaning in, and she swerves me again. Twice.
0 for 2 now?
I was 0 for 2. I thought that these were layups and these were full courts.
Wait, what's her deal?
I have no clue. To this day, I still have no idea.
She didn't tell you?
No.
What the heck?
So anyways, I was like, okay. I was like, all right, you got to get out of my house. And she starts laughing super hard. She's like, la, la, la. And I was like,
you're like, okay. I'm being serious.
We got to go. So anyways.
Maybe that's her thing. She just likes to like, make guys think that they're real close to kissing her, and then boom. That's like her favorite thing in the world. That's why she's laughing. That's so weird.
I think she was like genuinely, and don't worry, this isn't the only date we went on. There's more.
Okay.
There's more. And it gets so much worse. And like that, so like going into this, I should or looking back on it, I realize now, I'm like, okay, I think she's just like a master manipulator.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Just wait. There's so much more proof to that. So anyways, she like then is talking to me and flirting with me, and like, I don't know. She basically was like, we need to hang out again. She says that to me, and I go, yeah, no, I agree. I don't know why I agreed to that, but I did. And so I'm also kind of like looking back.
She's a siren, dude.
Yeah. she's singing the song, and I'm right over the water. I'm like, oh, So I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. But then again, I get after I drop her off, I get more mixed signals, because after I drop her off, then all of a sudden she becomes, corporate America's most busy soldier and has no idea what her work schedule is and just cannot make time. Yeah. And I'm like, you told
corporate
me.
America's most busy soldier. That's good. I'm going to use that
now. It's a good one. one. So anyways, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, text her like 3-4 days in a row. Like, oh, like, are we going to, I don't know if it's that much. It might've been that much. She was kind of leading me along, just, leading me to water.
Yeah.
I'm a little horse
like,
with a carrot.
The other night ago, that was kind of fake. I was just testing the waters.
Yeah. And so I'm like, what's going on? So anyways, then a week later, my friend was like, hey, I have free tickets to the Jazz game. Find a girl. Let's go on a group date. Yeah. And I'm texting no girls. So I was like, I can text Emma. It'd be fun. And she's cute. So I can kind of be like, hey, like, I'm on a date with a cute girl. Yeah. Like, clout, And so I text her, and she's like, oh, I was going to go to Institute tonight, but yeah, I can come to the Jazz game. And I was like, oh, that's crazy how you somehow just instantly found time. It's amazing. Yeah, that's wild.
I thought you were corporate America's busiest warrior or soldier.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And anyway, so she just magically clears up her schedule. We go on this date. It was fine. Like, I pick her up. My friend ended up not being able to, his date dropped out last second, so it was just me and her. And I was like, oh, awkward. But anyways, so we get to the Jazz game. It's great. It's fun. Whatever. Except there's one part where we're sitting there, and one of my old roommate's ex-girlfriends walks up, and she walks by. She's like, Pudge. And I'm like, hey. You're like, hey, what's up? I haven't seen her in forever. And also, they ended on really bad. One of the worst breakups I've ever witnessed. And I was like, I don't really have any beef with you because, I don't know, I wasn't there. But from what he told me, we don't like you. I'm not supposed to, anyways.
We're not friends.
Exactly. This is bro code.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, get away. So, anyways, she's just kind of chatting to me for a little bit too long, and I'm getting real uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, yeah, answers are getting shorter and shorter. Totally.
Yes. No.
So, anyways, she leaves, and then asks, that's her name. Anyways, Angie.
I can edit it. Don't worry. I'll bleep it.
So Angie then is like, oh, who was that? And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's my old roommate's ex-girlfriend, whatever. And she was like, what happened between them? And I was like, and because Angie had visited me in that 3 years, before we went on these dates. So she had met all my roommates.
Okay.
So in my mind,
knows.
she's asking like, oh, who is this? Like, what happened? Because she'd met them. So in my mind, it's not really that weird of a question. But then she kind of like keeps talking about my old roommate. Just keeps talking. And I'm like, and she's like, wait, did I meet him? And I was like, I don't know, like the tall blonde one. And she was like, oh, okay. What's his name? So I tell her his name. Then she searches up his Instagram. And then she's like, I don't know if I really liked this guy. Or I don't know if I really met this guy or whatever. And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no way
you
for me
might
to
have.
prove
It
it.
was
Yeah.
3 years ago or whatever.
There's no clue. There's no way that I can prove it. So, and then she's like, and then I was like, well, yeah, I think that they broke up. I was like, I love my old roommate, but he's just kind of arrogant, like kind of cocky. And so like, he told me his side of things, but like when I was living with him, he was kind of hard to live with. And he didn't ever really think that anything was his fault.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I don't really know if I believe 100% what he said, but I was like, I don't know. I do wonder. I don't know if he like took a lot of accountability for anything that happened there. And she goes, oh, he's arrogant, like cocky. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, and then she's staring at his Instagram and she's like, I bet I could fix him. And my eyes just go.
She said that?
I was blown away. Like
It's a cartoon, like,
like jaw on the floor. I could fix him.
She says that on a date?
Yes.
What the
about
hell?
someone else? Yeah, I'm on a date with you, and you're talking about my old roommate. The disrespect. I was genuinely shocked. I was so shocked.
Yeah. What do you do in that situation?
So I was like, what? She was like, oh, like I could humble him. I could fix him. And I was like, what does that mean? So I said, I'm like, what does that mean? And she's like, oh, well, and then she just like kind of starts gassing herself up about how she like can, like, I don't know, humble people. And I'm like,
what does that mean?
Yeah, what are you? You were corporate America's busiest warrior, and now you're God's most brave warrior. Like okay, like nobody's asking you to humble.
And she just goes up to him and is
like,
you're arrogant, you suck. It's like all this stuff just lays into him.
And I'm like, nobody's asking you to do this. I did not ask you to do this. And she's like, I could, and all these things. And I'm like
that's
but
great.
then she's talking about fixing him, and I'm like,
that's so weird.
What?
Yeah.
So anyways, at this point I just start to get like a little discouraged. I'm kind of like, oh, she's just chatting it up about my old roommate. I'm on a date with you, and you are talking about someone else, especially someone that I know.
That's wild, man.
So I'm like,
I don't know if I would be able to hold my cool in that situation.
Dude, I just started. It was either like go off or just shut down.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, there's still like, it was like barely past halftime. So I was like, we got lots of the game left to go, and I wanted to watch the game. It was they were playing, I don't know, the Rockets, I think. So I was kind of entertaining. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure, totally. So I start to shut down, and she can see it, and she's like, oh, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just like not in a great mood. And then she's like, well, why? And I was like,
really?
Yeah. What do you mean why?
Yeah.
And then she just like keeps asking, and then I was like, well, you asked for it. And so I'm like, well, I don't really like when you talk about other guys when I'm taking you out on a date. Yeah. And I was like, imagine how that makes me feel. And she was like, oh, that's not what I meant. I go, I know. That's not what you meant. Yeah. Doesn't really matter what you meant. Right. What you did was this and this and this. And so I'm like I get it. That's probably not what you meant. I'm not going to be mad or hold that against you. But like, what am I supposed to do? Right. So anyways, that was a really awkward situation. She basically pulls it all out of me, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. So you guys are at a baseball game, or not a basketball game. You just laid it all out. Now it's like, what's the mood?
Yeah. Now then she just kind of keeps talking, and she just acts like this is like a normal thing. It was weird. We're like, I don't know. It was like,
dude, I'm telling you, there's potato farmers up in Idaho. Weird. I had a weird experience too. Weird.
So it gets worse. Just wait.
Oh no.
Then we're on the drive home. And I get back because she lives in.
It's got to be the most awkward drive. I'm sorry.
It was horrible. But like, she just would like keep talking, so there was no silence. Yeah. But I was just like, yeah, sure. And then again, like I was saying before, she would like kind of flirt, and she knew that I had a crush on her, like physically, that I thought she's like so pretty, all these things, and it was just like, dude, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Like, she would like say things, and I was like kind of happy, and then I was kind of like, wait a second, am I just gonna forget that she just disrespected me? First date, and then this. Anyways, so she lives in Saratoga Springs, but like really far Saratoga Springs. So I picked her up at the Target parking lot in American Fork.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is where I picked her up to take her to the date. Then we come back, and we're just like in her car. We go get like a little sweet treat, and we're just sitting there. And it's like, after just chatting, talking, whatever, it's like 11:30, something like that. And I was like, all right, I can take you to your car. Like, we both have work in the morning.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, like give me like 10 more minutes. And I was like,
at the game?
No, we'd already gotten back.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so we'd already drove back from the game. I'm in the Target parking lot now.
Okay.
We go get a little sweet treat, and so this is after the game.
Yeah.
I'm parked next to her car.
10 more minutes?
Yeah, I was like, she's like, oh, let's hang out for another 10 more minutes. And I was like, again,
okay.
I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. And then, at this point, we're in the front seat, and she, like, starts leaning on my shoulder, and we're, like, kind of doing this weird, like, cuddling thing in the front seat. I don't know. But again, I had a crush on this girl for 3 years, and I was kind of like, maybe I should just kiss her. And like the two sides of me was like, she disrespected you. But then the other side was like, maybe just kiss her.
Yeah,
I mean,
why
you've
not?
always wanted to. I mean, cross
She's
it
pretty.
off. So I was like, I don't know. And then she just like she would like flirt with me and then like make me, I don't know. So I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm going to try and kiss her. But then I was like, no, I kind of came to my senses. I was like, no, I'm not going to kiss her. So she's like, we're like flirting or cuddling in the front seat. We do that for another like hour. At this point, it's like 12:30. I'm like, okay, like I'll walk you. So I tell her again. This is the second time. I'm like, hey, I'll walk you to your car. So and she's like, okay. Or no. At this point, the second time, she's silent. Says nothing. Staring into my eyes.
Same thing.
Big smile. All the things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at this point, I already decided. I was like, no. I'm gonna have some dignity.
Yeah.
So I go, hey, I'm not gonna kiss you. I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna make a move. Nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And she goes, wait, why? And I was like,
you're like, well, let's start at the beginning.
let's start years ago. No. Yeah. So basically, I was just like, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much going on, and like, I was like, and like, this probably isn't fair, but also like, if I kiss you, I'm the type of guy where like, if I kiss you, I'm gonna try and go for it.
Yeah.
Because why not? And I was like, but I'm moving to Vegas, and I really am a terrible long-distance boyfriend. Like, I hate FaceTiming every night.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, you know? So I was like, that wouldn't be fair. Anyways, and she's like, oh, that's a good point, da-da-da. We have this whole conversation, again, pouring out our feelings again. We're two conversations deep of, like, serious communication. This is my second date. I mean, I've known her for a while, but, like, this is my legit second date with this girl.
That's crazy.
So anyways, then at this point after that conversation, now it's like 1:30, maybe like 2 in the morning. I didn't end up getting home till 3 a.m.
Dang.
Keep that in mind.
You guys were just chatting the whole time.
Just chatting.
Okay.
I mean, because like she was cool enough to the point like where it's like if you make a joke and you like start like a bit, like we would just kind of bounce off each other. So like it was fun. Like it was, and that's like where I was kind of like forgetting all the things that she said is she would say a couple of things and I'm like, wait, that was like kind of funny actually, And so like there were redeeming qualities, of course.
Right.
But yeah, just that. Anyways, at this point at 1:30 in the morning, then she like it gets silent or whatever, and I'm just kind of sitting there. I look over at her, and then she leans in on me, and we get about this close.
Yeah.
We're right next to each other, and I'm like, hey, like Angie, I don't think this is a good idea. I already said like that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a good idea. And so then she backs off, and but then she like brings it up, we're talking about it. She leans in a second time.
So you're the swerver now.
So now, and then I swerve her again.
Yeah.
So now I'm 2 for 2.
Now you're like a little taste of your medicine.
Like, yeah, how's it feel? Sticking it to the man. So then we keep chatting again. Then she leans in a third time. She has tried 3 times, and I'm like, dude, like I said, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. But the third time, she like licks my lip. It's 2:30 in the morning. When a girl licks, I'm sorry, all reason out the window.
Yeah.
I have now abandoned my post at Dignity Station, and I'm like, hey, it's full guns,
go time.
all guns, all blazing. So it's go time. And so then I tried to lean in on her, and then she swerved me.
What?
The most confusing girl on planet Earth. Make that make sense. Make it make sense.
That doesn't at all.
She leans on me 3 times.
Did you say something?
Yeah. The third time I was like, what is wrong with you? That's what I said. I was like, what is wrong with you?
Really?
And I was mad, but I was also kind of like, nah, that was low key hilarious. You got me good.
Yeah, that was good.
Like that was good. So I was like, anyway, so yeah, she swerves me, and I was like, what? And then anyway, she was like,
puzzle.
yeah, or no, actually, what it was after she leaned in the third time and licked my lip, she was like, then she told me, she's like, you are fumbling right now. She's like, if you wouldn't have swerved me or whatever like earlier, we could be in the back seat right now. Again, I'm a guy.
Yeah.
It's 2 a.m. all of my thought goes from this head to the other head. So like at this point, I'm not thinking with my brain, And so I'm like, so then I lean in to kiss her, and how do you give that speech about me fumbling and then you swerve me?
That's insane.
Bro, it had to be like a control. It had
must
to be
have
like a
been.
power trip.
Yeah.
It had to be.
There's something wrong in there, though.
Dude, no. Anyways, I lean in the first time, she swerves me, and then I'm like, okay, fine. You lean in on me then.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. And then she did, and then we ended up kissing. Bad idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea. After we kissed, she then ghosts me for 4 days.
What?
No contact. And then she breaks the silence by like, hey, we should just be friends. And I was like, that's literally what I
was
said,
telling you.
like 5 seconds before we kissed. So like, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
So anyways.
Dude, that's insane.
Crazy. I'll make it fast, but there's another date because I ended up asking her to be my date to my friend's wedding. I was a groomsman. So she ends up coming to the reception. It was a weird situation because I was up in South Weber, like Ogden. It was at the Leighton Temple. And so I'm already up there is where the wedding, like the ceiling and everything was. And then the reception was like at 6. Anyways, times got changed on me. I had to be somewhere for reception photos.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, can you meet me like halfway, like at like 4:30 or 5 or whatever? And she was like, oh, I'm not home right now. No, like I won't be able to make it at that time. And I was like, okay, like that sucks. I'm sorry. She calls me. And then she rips into me for 20 minutes. Like, hey, you didn't tell me the time. This is on you.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't communicate with me. And I was like, she like says all this stuff. I'm like waiting to respond. And I go, dude, why are you pressing me right now? Like, get off my back. And she was like, and I've never said that to I've never said this to anybody in my life. But like, she was like going at my head.
Yeah, why are you attacking me?
Like, back off, dude.
Yeah.
So I say that and I was kind of like, okay, Pudge. But
You're like,
anyways,
dang, didn't know where that came from.
it came out of nowhere. So I was like, dude, back off. Like, the time changed on me.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said that, she was like, oh. And I was like,
yeah,
crazy. La, la, la. There's my magic trick. So thank you. Get away, freaking stop talking to me. And she's like, well, do you have any friends going there? And I was like, my coworker and then my roommate are coming like at like 7. And she was like, well, can I go with them? And I was like, I can ask.
Yeah, why not?
And I should have just lied. I should have been like, oh yeah, this girl's like low-key mean.
Yeah, it's okay to tell a white lie sometimes.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I didn't lie. I asked my roommate, I'm like, hey, Angie wants to get a ride to the wedding. When are you leaving? And he was like, oh, I'll leave at this time. And he was like, we can take her. I was like,
you're like, here she comes.
Hey, yeah, you can go to the wedding. Anyways, she shows up to the wedding. As soon as I see her at the reception, she gives me her keys, phone, wallet, everything. Hey, hold this. And I'm holding it, and I'm like,
just put it on the table right where you're at.
I'm like,
I'm not a coat rack.
Okay. So I put it in my suit coat, and then, then we're eating food or whatever. And when she finishes her plate, she's like, she hands me her plate, and she doesn't ask. She goes, throw it away. And I like grab the plate and I look at her and I go, I am not your servant.
Yeah.
And she's like, can you please throw it away? I was like, why do you want me to throw it away? I was like, you have 2 legs.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the trash can is
and you've been
right
mean to
there.
me all day.
Yeah, you've been mean to me all day. You really chewed me out like an hour ago. So the trash can's right there. And so anyways, then she was like, no, please throw it away for me. And I was like,
it's got to be a power trip, dude.
Okay. So then I throw it away for her. And again, I was just doing anything to kind of like preserve the peace because like she was just acting weird. Anyways, music starts playing. And you know me. It's
time to dance. Yeah.
To the dance floor. Oh yeah, I'm a groomsman too. I have to. That's my job. I'm legally obligated.
Absolutely.
So I sprint to the dance floor. I'm having so much fun. One of the groomsmen's like, bro, like when a slow song comes on, well, like they all had their girlfriends and wives or whatever. He's like, go get your date and we'll all like slow dance. And I was like, hold up right there, buckaroo. She friend zoned me like 2 days ago, and I'm super confused. Here's all the reasons why I'm confused. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, maybe not.
He's like, yeah, good point.
He's like, yeah. And so I'm like, yeah.
Dang, dude.
So anyways, the slow song comes on. And instead of doing that, I just go out of the circle. Angie never ended up dancing. Never came to the dance floor. Neither did my roommate and coworker. And so she just kind of was just latched onto them.
Yeah.
So like those three were just sitting,
just
chatting
hanging
a
out,
bit.
being boring.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, whatever. Anyways, you also friend zoned me. In
Yeah.
my mind, I'm learning this now, but apparently, anyways, I always thought if you friend zone me, I'm not going to make a move.
Right.
That's what friend zone means.
I'm pretty sure
right?
that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty
that's
sure.
universal.
So if you want me to be friends with you, I'm going to honor what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not going to make a move.
That's respectful.
Apparently, that was wrong.
Oh, no, dude.
So
it
anyways,
keeps going.
It keeps going. This is the very end. But anyways, we send them off. We're standing in the cold. It's like low-key. We're outside. It's kind of raining a little bit. But I was also sweaty as nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And,
When you go to dance parties, it's the worst.
Dude,
it's a
my
furnace.
suit coat is gross, like all wet, sweaty, gross. Like, so I was kind of like, oh, maybe I should offer my jacket to Angie, but also like, dude, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't think she wants this. So I was kind of like, and I mean, I was sitting there and I was getting cold. So I actually took it off. Or I didn't take it off, but I was like, dude, I should because this is freezing. Anyways, we get in the car and I'm taking her home at this point. And I'm like, how was it? Like, I had a lot of fun. Did you have fun? And she was like, yeah, it was good. Da-da-da. And then silent for a second. And I'm like, silence before the storm.
Yeah, here we go.
And she's like, so why didn't you dance with me? And I was like,
here
me?
we go.
I'm
Jumping right into it, huh?
We're just jumping right into the
Yeah,
storm. She's
go
like, why
right
didn't you
into
dance
it.
with me? Why didn't you offer me your coat? And I was like,
Why didn't you offer
in my
me
mind, I'm
coat?
like, in my mind, I didn't say this because I was like, I'd already said some pretty like sharp things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told you. So I was kind of like, dude, like pick your battles. Don't just be, mean.
Yeah.
But I was sitting there and I was like, dude, this girl's so entitled. Like she is so entitled.
Throw him in a plate. Give me your coat.
Yeah. And so I was like, I didn't think that you wanted to. She said,
Right.
well, you didn't ask. And I would go, I apologize, but you friend zoned me. I didn't think that, friends slow dance together.
Right.
That's not what, I'm not going to grab you by the waist, hold your hand, and then, sway you back. That's
Doesn't
not
work.
what friends do.
Yeah.
At least I don't think that. And she's like, well, no, we were on a date. And I was like, yeah, but we're friends.
Right.
Like that takes priority, right?
Respect the friend zone.
I should friend zone.
You put me there.
Yeah,
I'm
I
staying.
should respect the friend zone,
Right.
right? And she's like, well, you didn't even ask. She's like, I have this, standard, and she's like, I'm disappointed. And I was like, and I literally was like, you're not my parent, so I don't know why you're disappointed.
I'm disappointed in you, Pudge. You didn't dance with me. You ass.
Crazy, dude. She was.
That's nuts, dude.
Bro, so it's an hour drive from where we were back to just to the Target parking lot. Bro, she chewed me out for an hour. And like I was saying before, the whole time.
Got mad at you the entire time?
The whole time.
Oh my gosh.
My roommate and my coworker pull up next to us while we're driving, and they're like, hey. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
Just throw him the middle finger.
yeah, we're doing good.
I'm going down with the boat, guys.
We're dying, Anyway, so she chews me out the whole drive.
Jeez.
I expected more of you, all these other things. And I just, a couple times, I was like, back up. We are not dating. We are not dating.
Wait a second. We're just friends.
Yeah, you friend zoned me for crying out loud. Like, you can't be serious. Oh, my gosh, dude. It was
That's
a
insane.
never-ending, just hour-long, like, I have these standards, da-da-da. And I was kind of like,
Yeah.
who are you talking? Who do you, first of all, who do you think you are?
Did we start dating like four days ago?
No.
I know.
Dude, it was unbearable. So that is the 3-part story.
That might be one of the most painful date stories I've ever heard.
Dude, it is so bad.
That
And there
sounds
were a
brutal.
lot of details. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I'll say this. On the drive, I'm like, look, I get it. You have your standards. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll respect that.
Yeah.
I'll respect that. You don't have to change your standards. I was like, but you know what you should do? I was like, because she would always say, she's like, oh, I know you so well. I go, if you know me so well, you should have known that saying what you're saying, the way that you're saying it, was going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just not, I was like, it's pretty easy to tell that I don't really love confrontation.
Right.
And I was like,
I think most people don't.
I don't think that most people do. So I'm like, I understand that you have your standards. I was like, but there is an easier way to communicate it. So then I was like, let me summarize.
Yeah.
Keep your standards. Just say it in a way that I can receive it well.
Yeah. Help me understand
And
it.
I quote.
Oh, no.
She says, no.
Just
That
what?
was period. No, period. That was it. And I was
Just
like
wow.
and I go, there's no compromise here. And she says, no. And I was like,
I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking.
I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, dude.
So then,
that's nuts.
and then she relates it because she was like, if I compromise too much or whatever, she's like, then I'll end up, because then she like ended up
compromise
telling
too
me-
much. You're just asking her to talk.
I know.
You're just like, communicate a little bit better with me. If we're friends, we're friends. If you want to date me, let's date. Like,
But that's the thing, is nobody knows what we were.
Yeah.
Not even Socrates could figure it out, you know?
dude,
Nobody
Doesn't
could figure
seem
out
like it.
what was going.
it doesn't seem like it.
So then, then she was like, then she brought up some like abusive ex-boyfriend. She's like, I compromised with him, and then he ended up like hitting me. And I was like, first of all, we're not dating.
Yeah.
We're not. That's not an
That's
analogy
off-
that works. We don't do that.
It's not an analogy that works.
Yep, X there. Wrong answer. We're not dating. Second of all, I don't know. I think this. I'm one of the least menacing human beings on planet Earth.
You've always been a very nice guy.
Like I
Yeah.
really try to be as friendly as I can. So I am not that guy. So
Definitely
first of all,
not.
we're not dating. Second of all, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
And third of all, I'm not asking you to change your standards.
Right.
I said that. I was like, I'm not asking you to change your standards. Keep them.
Yeah.
Just how you communicate them. Can we agree on something?
Dude.
And she was like, no. And I was like, all right. And I just started laughing.
You're like, this is a great bit you got going on.
I was like, the boys are going to love this.
Yeah, you're actually hilarious. Let's keep you around. No, that's crazy, dude.
Insane.
That is nuts.
Insane.
I mean, we've been talking about this is kind of the theme right now, is like you learn from those experiences. They teach you in a lot. It's like in the future, I'm sure you'll be a great communicator because you'll know exactly what not to do.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, more power to Angie. But that's insane, dude.
Insane. She was all. I remember we had a conversation too, and I was like, dude, you know what I really don't like? And this is personal preference, so
Yeah.
to each their own. I was like, but if I compliment a girl, I say, hey, you look really pretty, whatever. I think, again, my opinion, I think the only right answer is thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was very nice. That's what I think is the only acceptable answer. I was like, I really don't like it when people just go, I know,
Does that happen?
it has happened to me. And I'm like,
Dang.
oh my gosh, dude. Like,
Yeah.
anyways, and she started defending that. She's like, no, like if I know it, then la 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 la.
Right.
And I was like, I'm sitting there, and again, I'm just flabbergasted. Like, there's no way this girl's real.
Dude, that's insane.
Like, she has to be doing a bit. Like, no, like I feel like the right thing to do is like, oh, that was so nice, thank you. Like, I thought that
Yeah.
was common sense.
Right.
And she started defending. She's like, no, like if a guy says, that I'm cute, I already know that. I don't need him. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying.
I don't know. I tell my wife she's hot every day.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, thanks.
And it's just, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just simply a nice thing to say. That's all
Nice
it
thing to
is.
say.
And, dude, yeah. So that, again, just all these things where I'm just like, dude, this girl is just so entitled. So entitled.
Sounds like you dodged a huge bullet. You dodged a 50 cal.
Dude.
That's insane.
Yeah. Because, again, like the way that she just would like say words, but then kind of flirt a little bit, but then
Yeah.
like be serious. But then, like, I don't know, other times, because I remember I was like, why are you so mad right now? Is when we were driving home.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do to deserve this reaction? And she was like, I'm not mad right now. And I was like, you're not mad right now?
Yeah.
I don't want to see you when you're mad. If this is you not mad, I do not want to see
Seriously.
what mad is. Because I can't imagine what that's going to be like.
It's going to be 3 hours of yelling at you.
Dude, yeah, 1 hour wasn't enough. Yeah,
That's
so,
crazy, man.
insane.
But
Sorry,
what
that
a
was
story.
really long story.
It's a
but
good story. I mean,
It builds on itself.
yeah, that's we need all the details for stuff like that. That's why we have a podcast, dude.
Exactly.
Talk about stuff. But that's wild. I mean, this is something I was going to ask you about anyways. Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Did you meet anyone as crazy as Angie in Baltimore? Because I've heard some stories about like, I've heard about the Midnight Boys.
Yes.
Midnight
the
Boys
Midnight Boys.
They're
Yep.
sick.
They're
I thought they were fake.
they're real, dude.
Did you ever see them?
Mm-hmm.
For the people who don't know what the Midnight Boys are, what are they?
It's a gang that at noon and at midnight they'll drive on like pit bikes or
Quads and stuff, right?
Quads, motorcycles, whatever it is. through the streets of Baltimore, and they pop wheelies that are so high that they're straight vertical. That they're the quads and
How does that
their
even
bikes and
work?
everything, they're straight vertical. So they're we are as the midnight boys or 12 o'clock boys, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And so and they just would have. Like, they were leaning so far back. Like, every single time, they were always just had their hands down, touching
That's
the ground.
insane. How do they not fall? That's crazy.
I think they do fall a lot, but, like, because I remember seeing people fall, like, when they'd pop wheelies. And
No
I
way.
would just laugh. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Do they, like, get up?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
they get up and
jeez.
they're just like,
Like, whatever.
chill.
Get some road rash. Doesn't matter.
It was bad, dude.
But what was it like? Because we both served missions for our church. What was it like serving out there? Were you in the city?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I started in Pennsylvania, and then I did a couple of cities around. But, yeah, I was in Baltimore right as COVID hit.
Dang. Okay.
It was wild.
Whole city shut down then?
It was weird because, like, yeah, when I was walking around outside before COVID,
Yeah.
things were normal. I remember someone mentioned COVID, and, like, I don't know, I wasn't really keeping up with the news at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, I don't know what that is. But he was like, oh, man, can't shake your hands. And I was like, fist bump? He's like,
Yeah.
nope. And I was like, elbow.
Like, let's go all the way to the elbow.
And he was like, okay, yeah. But, yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, no, there were, as crazy as you think it is, it is. It is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a story of, I got a gun pulled on me.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Dude, let's hear it. Bring the
So-
sucker up just a little closer to you.
Okay. Is that okay?
You can move it if you
Got it.
Ah.
Okay. Nope.
I want to hear it.
'Kay.
The gunshot.
So,
Or gun pulling. Not
yeah,
shot.
there was a guy that we were teaching, or he was a member, but he lived in the city, and the ward that we were going to was a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the place that I was assigned to was a little bit outside the city, and so I remember. I have to tell the story in a minute. Let me think. He wasn't a member, but we contacted him because we were told by our mission president, like, hey, there's already a Spanish like congregation in the city.
Yeah.
Let's try and see if we can start one that's like outside of the city.
Oh, so you spoke Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was good.
Now say this whole story in Spanish, please. Just kidding.
You got me there, dude. It's been 4 years. I do not have that same skill. But I'm trying to think. Okay, so this guy lived in the city, but he was a part of the English ward that was just outside of the city.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, if he, like, his name was Jesus, Caesar, very
Alright.
Hispanic name. Very, he's from Mexico. Super great guy before he pulled the gun on me. Even then, if he pulled a gun, like, you'll understand. Nice. He generally was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But anyways.
He had a little spark in him,
Yeah,
little
there was something.
misfire.
That. So, anyways, I remember we're like, we'll go visit him. So we go talk to him, and he was just like, oh, yeah, like I loved helping with the missionaries when I was in Mexico. He's like, I was even doing it when I was in D.C. for a little bit. He's like, and then I moved here in Baltimore. He's like, and I kind of just fell off. And I was like, well, do you want to like get back? And he's like, yeah. I was like, sweet.
Like, cool, that's perfect.
That's great. So like we've got a like a December Christmas thing, like first week of December. The ward is putting on like a little show, like a little talent show. And he's like, oh, I've got a little daughter, and he's like, and my girlfriend, she's not a member, so like we could bring her to church, and I'm sure she'd love to hear about Jesus. And I go, that's great.
Yeah.
So, anyways, then the day of the event or whatever happens, we're not supposed to give rides. We had a car, but we're not supposed. Or no, actually, we didn't have a car then. We were on bus and bike. Yeah. So he was like, hey, can I like legit like 10 minutes before it started, and it was easily like a 20-minute drive. He was like, hey, can I get a ride and to the event? And I was like, we're already here. We've already like been helping set up. I was like, let me call some people.
Yeah.
So I call up like just a bunch of people in the ward and everything. And lo and behold, nobody could give him a ride.
Dang.
So yeah, I feel so bad for him. I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry.
So he's not showing up at this thing.
So yeah, he's not showing up at this thing, but he like starts to get like really sad. He's like, no, like elders, like my daughter is really looking forward to this. And I was like, I know, but like, do you have like a bus pass?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I can't give you my bus pass because mine's attached to my name. So like they won't let you on.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. And so there really wasn't anything that we could do. And he was just like, I could tell he was like super sad. He like called us. He's like, there's nobody. And I was like, I've called like 8 people.
Yeah.
Like, and they're either like already here setting up, or I don't know. Nobody was just like really willing. Again,
Right.
it was like so last minute that it was kind of like.
Also, you had a certain amount of miles as a missionary on your car,
So I couldn't just
you had to
drive.
like calculate how far you're going to go each day.
Yeah, it was
wild.
insane. So I was like, we used bus. So I was like, can you get a bus?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I don't know. So there was nothing we could do. And so then he just kind of went 0 dark 30. Didn't hear from him, and I was like, crap, dude. Like,
How long? How long did you not hear from him?
Couple weeks.
Okay.
So that was beginning of December, and then I remember because like he was the type of guy that you text him, he'd text back right away.
Yeah.
Even if he was at work, and so I was kind of like, something's up.
This guy's
I mean,
fast.
we know what's up.
Yeah. He's
I
mad.
knew exactly what was wrong. So I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, I was like, dang, dude, we need to like bring him a treat or something. So a couple weeks go by, and this was the week of Christmas.
Okay.
I was like, hey, let's go see him. Like, let's go bring him some treats or whatever. Christmas, like. It's not going to make up for it, but hey, maybe we can
put a smile on his face.
Yeah, maybe we can do something.
Yeah.
At least something's better than nothing. So I go, and we get to his house, we knock on his door, no answer, knock on his door, no answer, and I was like, if we knock a third time, is that like really annoying? And yeah, it is, but we did, and then he finally answered, and I was like, oh, like, hey, Caesar, like, what's up? And so we're talking with him, and he's like, hey, come on inside. He's like, actually, can you guys help me clean up a little bit? I was like, yeah, totally. So we like helped clean up his house. Cause like his dog had like just peed on the ground. So I'm mopping up some pee on the ground. And, I was with an elder who was from Peru.
Okay.
So he spoke just perfect Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know.
I'll get a couple words.
Yeah, I'll get a little bit. And
Pero,
he
say
would
dog pee. Pero.
he was in the English word, so he would like kind of do the speak some English, throw a Spanish word in there, and that's just kind of how he talked.
Yeah.
And so I got most of it, but anyways, he was talking, and then he's like, "Hey, elders, like try this." And he like made a little treat, and I was like, "Oh, like thank you so much." Like, "Hey, man, like how you been?" And he was just like, he sat down on his couch and he was like, "Not good." And I was like, "I'm so sorry." Like
yeah.
I know about like the December thing. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, that was tough." He's like, "Well," he's like, "I've been jobless for a little bit." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I've just been doing like construction jobs just on the side, like, but nothing like set." And he's like, "My girlfriend's pregnant right now." He's like, "And she's like yelling at me to, try and get this job." She's like, "I have all this pressure." He's like, "If I don't get a job," he's like, "I'm going to get kicked out of my house."
Jeez.
I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
He's like, "It's really unfortunate." He's like, "Because I was running in the cartels in Mexico when I met the missionaries, and they got me out of the cartels." He's like, "But I still know all those people." And he's like, there are people on this street that I could go, and he's like, I could get drug money right now. He's like, I could go get drug money right now. He's like, I need money. He's like, but I know that that's wrong.
Yeah.
And so he's like, but I need money so bad right now.
Dude.
And he's like,
what do you do in that situation?
Bro, I was like,
you're like 19 years old.
Yeah,
You're like, okay, let me give you some life advice.
He's talking about Narcos, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm here. My parents paid for my mission. I'm like, I don't know how to do anything with money. So yeah, exactly just that. Where I'm like, oh shoot,
dude. Yeah.
What do I? How am I supposed to sit here and be like, you need to pray harder? Yeah. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm sorry. This guy's going through some seriously dark times.
Right.
And then he's talking. He's like, she's pregnant and she wants to abort it, but I want to keep it.
Yeah.
And he's like, so we're fighting with that.
Dang, man.
And he's like, I have my daughter who lives with me, and she's 7. And he's like, what did he say? He starts to get seriously emotional as he's telling us the things. He's just slowly and slowly getting more and more emotional. And I was like, I'm sinking into my chair. I'm like, oh gosh.
Like, oh,
he's
man,
like washing things. He's like washing dishes. And he starts to get like really worked up. Yeah. As he's like
angry now.
Yeah, he's getting angry. And then he has a knife. He's cleaning a knife in his hand, and it's like a pretty pointy one that was pretty scary.
It's kind of a big knife.
And he's facing away from me, and I've got the mop. What am I gonna do to defend against a knife? But I've got no defense.
Got the pee mop, bro.
So I'm like sitting there, and then he turns around and he goes, and when you elders, he's like, when I couldn't depend on you guys, what did he say? He's like, I couldn't depend on you guys. He goes, and my little girl cried because she couldn't go to the church talent show. He goes, he points the knife at me. He goes, that pissed me off. And I go,
my. You're like,
oh
This guy just told me he's been in the cartels and now he's yelling at me with a knife.
Yep. He was telling us about his tattoos earlier, and he had like people that died on his arms.
My.
And I was like, and then he throws the knife in the sink, just throws it. And he goes, that just pissed me off. And turns around, just throws it. And I was like, oh dear.
You're like,
And so I look at my companion. What was nice was
hopefully
the
it's
guy
a quick
from,
one. Just kidding.
hopefully he ends it. And he goes, I've just been struggling with depression and anxiety. I'm looking at my companion. He knows, like, it's called capoeira. I don't know, but it's like Peruvian leg wrestling.
Okay.
And I don't know. It's really good. Like if someone like tries to like, jump on you, he knew exactly how to like defend it. So I was looking at it, I was like,
get ready. Get your legs ready.
I was like, please tell me you're, and he's like, sweeping up something over in the other room. And he's just like, but then, oh no, that's not what happened.
Oh,
I lied. He says that you pissed me off, but at that time, about 2 minutes earlier, my companion asked to go to the bathroom. Yeah. So it's just me and this guy.
Oh, jeez.
It's one-on-one. I'm dying in this situation. I'm sorry. I have no survival skills.
Where's this guy who has leg wrestling skills?
I'm looking at him, I'm like, I need the leg wrestling,
Yeah.
And he's in the bathroom, so it's just me and him, and we're chatting, and then I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, what do I say? And then he's like, I've been going through so much depression, so much anxiety, all these other things. He goes, he gets up, and there's a gun on top of, because like he's got his sink, and then he's got some cabinets above, and some bathroom, right? He gets up and he grabs a gun, and it's loaded, and he showed me.
Really?
So I know it was loaded. Yep, it was very loaded. And he was like, "You see that window that's open right there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I was this close from pitching myself head first out of that window yesterday." And I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I'm so sorry. Well, I'm glad that you're still here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that you didn't do that. Like, I was like, and so like, I'm trying to like, hey man, don't get on the ledge.
Down a little bit,
I'm like, we need you here. Like we love you. All these other things. I'm like, I'm trying to say what I can. And then he goes, he's like, and so then he starts crying, and he's got the gun, and he goes, and then he points it at me. And so this guy is not in a good mental health state.
Yeah.
And he's pointing a gun at me.
That's terrifying.
Horrifying. My comedian's still in the bathroom. And so it's,
dude, what do you do?
I'm soloing this, and he's like, when you made my daughter cry, I wanted to end it all. I was like,
oh my gosh.
And then he's pointing it at me, and he's super mad, and he's just crying. And then he just kind of drops it, and he starts just sobbing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
hey, reach for the gun.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm happy. But then he like looks up and he's like, I'm happy that you guys are here. He's like, I just need a hug right now, man. And so I'm like, I got you.
Okay.
So I start hugging him, and he's got the gun, and we're hugging. He's hugging over the shoulder, and I was like, please don't shoot me, please.
Yeah, please don't go off.
Like, I'm really hoping this is like a connection moment, not like a I betrayed you. So I'm hugging him. He's like, I just need a hug, man. So I hug this guy, and I calm him down off the ledge, and he's like, and so yeah, we probably hugged for like 2-3 minutes. I don't move.
Insane.
And finally, as we're hugging, my companion finally comes back out, and so finally I've got back up.
You're like,
hey, I don't know what we can do against a gun, but hey, I feel safer.
You might be able to make some cool breakdance moves.
Exactly.
That's crazy, dude.
Then we ended up, I was like, okay, dude, like, what do we need to do? Like, let's figure this out. And he's like, I need to get this gun away from me. And I was like,
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's
so he goes in the other room, and I look at my companion. I'm like, we need to leave like right now.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I say that, he comes right back, and I was like, hey,
we're done finishing cleaning.
Yeah, it's all clean, buddy. And then then we ended up chatting with him. He's like, no, guys, please don't leave yet. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then we ended up staying for another 30 minutes or whatever, hour, and basically talked him off the ledge and was like, hey, how about we talk about some good experiences with God and good experiences that you had when you like got baptized and how you felt and all that jazz. And so it was, by the end it was like, whew, okay. But
I don't know how you kept your cool, man.
Dude,
that's like a miracle in itself.
It was insane. I was tweaking. I was sitting there, and on the inside I was like, I'm going to die. I'm literally going to die. And on the outside I was like, we love you.
We love you, man.
How did I pull that off?
I don't know. I mean, like,
it had to be God. It had to be God. Like I look back on that, I'm like, I was toast.
100%.
The guy it was my fault. At least he thought it
Yeah.
was my fault that he didn't get to go.
This guy was a
I made
cartel
his,
member.
You know, yeah, it's a cartel. This guy had
Ex-cartel.
killed. Yeah, he had killed, and all these other things was a drug runner. All these
Yeah.
things for years, and
Dude.
oh yeah, and he's like, yeah, there's the Sinaloa Mafia. He's like, I have a cousin that's in that cartel.
No
here
way.
in Baltimore. He's like, I know where he lives. All the other things. He's like, you want to see something crazy? He showed me a picture. I was like, what is this? He's like, oh yeah, he was going down the street with $45,000 in drug money, $45,000 in his glove box. Cops pulled him over, and this is a receipt for the money that they seized from him. He's like, you don't believe me that I have, family in cartel?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't say that. And he's like, look, and it was $45,000.
Listen, I trust you, dude.
Taken. I was like,
that's nuts.
he's like, and you also look under there. He's like, look on like this next picture or whatever. He's like, that's a picture of the drugs that they took as well.
Holy crap,
I was
dude.
like, oh my god,
that is terrifying.
insane, dude.
There really is something to like God protecting you though in like those situations. Because
yeah.
like I had some weird run-ins on my mission.
Oh yeah,
Like I had a guy that
Explain,
was
yeah,
he started selling like meth when he was 17. And he got caught when he was 19, so he did it for like 2 years. But he like ran a huge meth lab, him and his buddies.
oh my gosh.
And so he like gets arrested, and when he gets out of prison, like he became a member of the church and stuff. But like in prison, he's like, you have to survive in a gang in prison. And I walk into this guy's house when he's telling us the story. So like we're sitting on the couch. He has pirate-themed everything. So, like, pirate blankets, pirate decorations. He has pirate tattoos all over him.
Oh, my God.
And he's just tatted up, like, to the max. And he's telling me, like, yeah, like, sometimes, like, the pedophiles would get killed in prison with, like, the top of cans. Like, you open up a can, they'd fold them, make a knife with them, and sharpen it. And then in the showers, slit people's throats. So he told me. And then, like, he's telling me all these things, and, like, he had, like, cracked people's skulls in prison to, like, tell people he's not to be messed with.
Gosh.
And he was a skinhead. So he was like a neo-Nazi.
Oh my gosh.
And me and my companion, dude,
That's crazy.
he was actually from Mountain View.
Okay.
He dated Meg Olson.
Oh yeah.
But Dan Glauser is his name.
Okay.
So Dan and I are sitting there. And Dan and I just like, I don't know, we always like like to have fun with like our people we were talking to and stuff. And so we're like, out of those tattoos, like how'd you get them in prison and stuff? And he's telling us like they would break pens, they'd have needles and stuff, and like put it in a straw tube and then like literally like tap it on you a bunch of times. It's like prison tats.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
Dan goes, "Do you have any that you regret?" No hesitation. This guy gets up off the couch, rips off his shirt, which is he rips off his wife beater, his gross tank top, and he points to his back, dude. A swastika the size of like a dinner plate is on his back.
Oh my god.
He's like, definitely this one. We're like, whoa. Like, all right.
Oh my god.
And we're like, what the heck do we do?
That's crazy.
He was a super nice guy. Like, he loved us. But, like, had some weird run-ins. And then, like, I don't know. We, one time we were in a trailer park. And we were walking to this one house. And I'm not even kidding you. This is like a horror movie, dude. No lights are on the outside. But there's one lamp on the inside. The curtains are drawn. And you can see, like, a silhouette, like, looking outside. And we're like,
what?
That's really creepy. And then we, like, start walking into this house because, like, I don't know, maybe it was like 7 o'clock in Minnesota. In wintertime, it gets dark close or real early there. And so we're walking up to this house, and this guy's like, he's like starts shifting inside, and then he like runs to the door, and we're like, this is weird. Like, we got to start turning around.
Yeah.
And so we like just walk away. We're like, we're not going up to that door because like we know he's behind that door.
Yeah.
So he's either like waiting to like open it real quick or something like that, or he's like locking it up. And like hopefully he's locking it up.
Hopefully.
And so we get back in the car, and as we're driving away, he like runs out of his lawn, and we're like, that could have been really weird. But like just weird stuff like that, dude.
Weird stuff, yeah.
But I don't know.
Something
I
you
mean,
just can't explain.
Yeah.
You're like, like if I would have stayed, I could have died.
Yeah. And you just get weird feelings. Like,
oh, yeah.
And for me, it's like that was for sure God being like, get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, walk out of there. And it's cool because I don't know.
Yeah.
If you felt that like after the mission, but on the mission, it's like amplified.
Oh, for sure.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
I remember there was one time we were walking down the streets of Baltimore. La, 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 la. This was on Halloween. Bad idea. Do not be in the heart of Baltimore on Halloween.
That sounds as missionaries.
As missionaries, yeah. Oh, it was a bad idea. There's a group of like 15, 16-year-old kids. There's probably like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
and they're all wearing like the Jabberwocky masks. You know, like
Oh,
the white
yeah.
masks,
The dance ones.
with only the slits right here and right here.
Yeah, creepy.
Kind of terrifying. Yeah.
Purge ones almost.
Basically, yeah. And in sync, we're standing across the street from them. We were trying to deliver a Bible to somebody, and literally all at the same time, I turn around. I'm like looking at them, and I'm like, "Oh, is it like are they like a dance group or something?" All at the same time, they just all stare and look at me, and I go,
"Really?"
I drop the Bible. I'm like, "We need to get out of here now."
You're like, "You guys need this book."
I'm like,
that's so creepy.
So then we got out of there, and I was like, "Yeah, we need to not go back to that house. Not if the sun is down."
That's terrifying.
No,
man,
it was scary. I was like, I don't know what they're gonna do. And then when you're in Baltimore too, sirens 24/7.
Oh, I believe it.
24/7.
That's
always.
Insane.
Choppers. There were a couple times we'd be walking along, there'd be a helicopter, and a light would shine on us, and I'd be like, "Hey man, we didn't do nothing."
Yeah, I promise.
And then they move on.
Preaching the word.
Yeah, I saw cops pull over like a bus, get
What?
everyone out of the bus, and like they arrested like probably 4 or 5 people. They were just laying on the ground. We were on our way.
They were on the bus. What the heck,
they
dude?
pulled a bus over. I was like, I didn't even like. Now that I think about it, like obviously you can do that, but I'd never seen it before.
That's insane.
Insane,
dude.
It was just like stuff like that where you're just like, huh.
You're like, I wonder if I was here a couple minutes earlier, what would happen? But
exactly,
it is wild, man. Like, and to like bring it all together, it's like all these things they teach us stuff. And
a ton.
As weird as it is,
so
like
much.
you know, seeing a skinhead show me a swastika tattoo and stuff, it's like, you know, it's put some hair on your chest. I don't know. It taught me like how to grow up a little bit, like going through that stuff, and definitely the mission. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, you knew me in high school. I was a wild kid, and now it's like, yeah, I think I had to grow up a lot. Yeah. Can't be, you know,
for sure,
burning down trailers anymore. But, you know,
I mean, yeah, I think it goes to show like you could be in, you know, dangerous situations or whatever, and then it's just like, yeah, I thank God for His hand, you know, in helping me say what was, you know, needed to be said, and, you know, keep my cool, all these things, because there's so many other situations as well where it's like, I don't know, one big thing that I've been thinking about a lot is I'm like, dude, because I try, you know, to do what God tells me. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not listening 100% of the time. Yeah. But because like we try to do that, there's so much like regret that I have seen that I've saved myself from. Like I have an uncle who he also went to jail, and he was like telling me like stories like that. Dude, that like this was probably a couple months ago. But yeah, he was telling stories. No, not a couple months ago. It was legit like Thanksgiving, so it was like over half a year ago. But yeah, he was like telling us stories like that, and he's like, "Oh, dude," he's like, "I started with, you know, this drug, and then it led to this drug." He's like, "And then I was with friends who were dealing drugs, so then they got me more drugs." He's like, Jeez. So then he got locked up because of, you know, doing drugs, drug possession stuff like
and all that stuff.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh," you know, I'm like, I'm so grateful that, you know, when I am in a situation where people are using drugs, I've always been like, I should probably leave. Like, hey man, if you want to do that, do your thing. That's not me. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, you know, holier than thou. But I'm just gonna remove myself. Right. Because like I know that I just don't feel comfortable here, and it's been so helpful because it even leads into other things like which friends you should, you know, prioritize in your life. Dude. Yeah. You know, so it's like there's super serious stuff where it's like, holy crap, you know, these guys are doing something that I just really do not agree with, versus like, I don't know. Yeah. Helps you be with the right friend group, helps you be in the right time, you know, right spot, right time, right place for, you know, maybe even if you meet your wife or whatever it is, 100%. You know, things like that. So I don't know, trusting God it's really cool to see. Like sometimes you can't see it because there's a lack of bad things. That's what I've been noticing. I'm like, okay, I've been saved from all these situations. Whereas I don't know. Whereas like I don't even realize. I'm like, oh, I'm not, you know, cracked out on the streets of, you know, some city somewhere where I could be.
Vegas.
Vegas, I could be.
Right.
But like, you know, because I'm doing XYZ and I'm just trying, I'm not.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole point. Is like just try and do your best. Like that's literally all God asks of us is try and do your best and help someone else. Like be there for other people. But I really think like what you said with trusting God and like trusting His timing and stuff, like things will work out for you. Yeah. Allie and I are going through like a lot of stuff like that right now, like personal stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to have kids.
Yeah.
I don't have sperm. Surprise. But like stuff like that. Like we're
Yeah.
trying to like work through it, and
Yeah.
we have faith. It's like, you know what? It'll work in God's timing. So it's like, just try and be the best you can. Try and help others along the way. And yeah, like you said, those people who have gone through those experiences that like teach you what you don't want in life can be some of the best teachers ever. Like I have a very close family member who has taken like a drastic turn in their life, and like they lost one of their kids. They like,
painful.
yeah, that kid was adopted, so it's still alive, but like she lost her rights and stuff to it. All because of her decisions, like all because of her choices. And it didn't start like, hard drugs. It was like one choice at a time, and just a slippery slope.
It really is.
And it's like, I don't know. I tell people the same thing happens with discipline. Like you do one discipline thing and it'll start the whole chain reaction.
Oh yeah.
Same kind of principle. So it's like you choose which path you want to go down.
Yeah.
One's obviously easier than the other,
Yeah.
but the easier path leads to a harder life.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
It's like,
I
choose the one.
remember I saw Spencer Walker. He posted on his story, and this is something that I've always thought of. It's like, choose your hard.
Yeah.
It's like, waking up at this time every single day is hard. Working out every single day is hard. Getting after it is hard.
It's tough.
But like, so is, being lazy.
Yeah.
Because you get to a point where, you don't like anything.
Or
If
dude,
you let it get far enough.
You get obese, and then you're going to have a ton of health issues.
And
Like your
then-
joints are going to hurt. You're going to get diabetes, heart disease.
Pick your hard, man.
Yeah.
Pick
I don't
your,
want a life like that.
You pick your hard. Like if you can just like right now do something that, maybe puts you out of your comfort zone. It doesn't even have to be something crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading, Atomic Habits right now, and it's like, dude, 1% changes go such a long way. Like you're saying,
100%.
one disciplined action, it can lead to two.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where it's no longer like a conscious, I am thinking about, doing this, and that. It just becomes nature.
Yeah. It's like a habit.
Yeah.
Like Atomic Habits. I love that book. There's this, I think there's a story in there where like, there's some guy who wants to get in shape, and he's like, I'm just going to go to the gym. And I think he like goes to the parking lot and then drives home.
Yeah.
And then he like goes in the next day for like 5 minutes, and then he like leaves.
Oh yeah, I've heard this.
But then he like eventually loses a ton of weight because like he told himself, hey, I go to the gym.
Yeah.
Even though he just like showed up, and
That's
then
crazy.
like it's cool, and it does like spiral into that kind of stuff. And yeah, man, I mean, I think it's a lifelong practice, but like, a lot comes from it.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling. So
For sure. And like, I'm sure it's the same thing with running with you. I'm sure it was like, now you're running, marathons and going crazy, but I'm sure when you started, I don't know, because I've been trying to run, and it's like, I could do like 2-3 miles right now,
Yeah.
And so I would assume it was probably that way with you, but you start there, and then now, look at you now.
Yeah.
And, and in fact, you're at a point where it's not this, I assume that it's not this grueling discipline where it's like, oh my gosh, like I have to, go run this, whatever. Like,
right.
It seems, again, as an outsider perspective, like it seems like you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And like, it's something that brings so many health benefits. It's so disciplined, like all these things. I'm like, I see you and I'm like, dude, that's what a good example, cause I'm like, I need to run, I need to treat my body with, respect and care and love. But it's hard, and then you
definitely
pick
tough.
your hard,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like running's a good example because like, yeah, I am running like marathons now, like ultra marathons.
That's sick.
It's fun. Like it's definitely hard.
Yeah.
But when I started, I was doing like 11-minute miles.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty slow.
Yeah.
And then doing like 2 miles every now and then.
Yeah.
I think when I hit like 7 miles one time, that was like my biggest distance
God.
I've ever done. And I was like, I'm so pumped. But it felt crazy.
That's so sick.
And then, now like 4.5 years later, like I've gotten to the point to like I've qualified for Boston. But it's just a discipline. Like it's a daily discipline. And yeah, not every day. Like I want to wake up and go run.
Yeah.
Actually, most days I'm like, I just would rather stay in bed. Like I don't want to get up and go do this. I don't want to go run 10 miles right now, but like, I know what comes on the other side, and it's like, I'm proud of myself for it.
Yeah.
I know like the benefits that are going to come mentally to me like, I don't know, my body and stuff too, my health. But yeah, it's all about choosing your heart, figuring out which one you want.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think about that a lot where I'm just like, yeah, dude, like sometimes it's hard to, be dedicated to God.
Yeah. That's
Sometimes
true.
it's hard to be dedicated to running. And yeah, when I say sometimes, generally most of the time.
Most of the times it is. Yeah.
I wouldn't say, that it's like something so easy, but like that's just your life now.
Yeah.
You don't really question it. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, and I'm sure it wouldn't take a lot for you to just sit in bed, but it's like, hey, there's 10 miles that have to be ran today. They just have to be ran.
I know.
And there's no getting around it. So,
do you know what David Goggins is?
uh-huh.
Every time I'm thinking in bed, like I'm laying in bed, I'm like, maybe today I'll skip it. There's this video I always freaking play in my head where David Goggins goes, "So you're gonna be a bitch today?" And I'm like, "Oh, dang it, I gotta get up."
You're like, no.
Like, no, it's the worst. But yeah, dude, I think it's important. Like, I know we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, so quite some time. But
yeah, we're just
chatting. But I think it's a good place to wrap up. Like, anything like that. But last thing I'll ask you, if there was someone who was like looking to start their career, because I know you've studied a lot of like college and you just graduated, now you're going into dentistry or like dental school, that's what it's called, right? That takes a lot of grind. That's a ton of work, a lot of studying. Also takes a lot of commitment. Like, for people out there who want to start something, like maybe they want to take a chance on themselves, maybe they want to become a nurse, or like they just want to take a chance and do something new. Like, what would you say to that person to, like, let them know that it's like okay to be a beginner, to start getting after it in their own way?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's definitely something that I battle with, because at BYU it was so interestingly competitive. I'd be like, dang, I'd be talking to some kids that, I don't know, maybe it was pretty early on in the semester, and I'd be like, dang, man, that test or that assignment was kind of tough. And there'd be a couple people that were like, that was tough for you? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, jackass. It was hard.
You jerk. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
So yeah, I definitely struggled with being like, hey, like this is hard for me, or it maybe doesn't come super easily for me at first. I don't know. I found, it is okay to be a beginner. Yeah. Everyone was a beginner, and and I thought about that a lot. I remember as well, there was a talk that I read, because when I was in chemistry, when I was in my second chemistry class, so Chem 2, I remember I was sitting there and I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like there were teachers going over some, I don't know, reaction. I'm sitting there and I'm like, that does not make any sense. And I was like, and I'm, in Chem 2, I'm barely a sophomore, and I can't get this. I was like, dude, I don't even know what, dental school is going to be like. Well, come to find out, good news with dental school is like they want you to pass so badly. Because if you think about it, it's like, hey, we come to our dental school, only 10% of our students actually pass. Whoa, that's awkward. That's great. So like there is, in terms of med school, dental school, like there are so many, once you get there, like there are so many resources, like they want you to succeed. But what I would say is, and I'm sure you've had this as well. I'm sure it probably relates to like the runner's high, maybe. When you're like, if you have to run up a hill and you're like, wow, this sucks so bad. I kind of like it. That's kind of hilarious. Like we were saying about the mission before. Like, this is so terrible. That's kind of funny. Right. That's how I would kind of think about, a lot of things in terms of studying or whatever. I'm like, dude, I have this whole mountain of things to get through. Especially, in Chem 2, even Chem 1, I'd be sitting there and I was like, this is supposed to be a review, and it's not. I'm like, what is this stuff? When I'm starting out, I just remember being like, you know what? I'm just going to accept the idea that this is going to be a grind. And as soon as I can accept that it's going to take effort, that it's going to be hard, it's probably going to be long, I'm probably not going to be super, happy. Anytime that I start to have doubts, I can remember, oh yeah, I knew that it was going to be like this. And so, when I would get there, I'd be like, dang, I knew that it was going to be like this. But like you were saying before, I want to take a chance on myself. I want to be the one that, controls my future. I can't exactly control the test grade that I get, but I can control how much I study for it. And if I, at the very least, feel comfortable about maybe going through past assignments or whatever, as soon as I feel comfortable about the review materials going into the test, okay,
Good to go.
I'm good. I have grinded. I did what I needed to, and I can feel comfortable. And even when I got that 60% of the test, I was so mad. I was like, dude, what the heck? But then I kind of was like, but I did prove to myself that I can do that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to not put myself in a situation where I have to do that.
Right.
So that was what I learned from that, because it was either cram for 20 hours or fail it more.
I love that, dude. That's such a good mindset.
So just accept that it's a grind.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard.
If it's something worthwhile, it's not going to be easy.
Exactly.
So.
And I was like, I want to be this. I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
And this is what it takes. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. You win. I'm not going to fight it. You win. I will follow the grind.
Yeah.
The grind is going to tell me what to do, and I'm just going to, follow.
Just see where it takes you.
Yeah. And it's been good, because I'm not sitting here like, man, why did this teacher, expect this of me? I'm like, sometimes, I still feel that way. I'm a human, but like, it doesn't take a lot of space in my head.
Yeah. You're not making excuses.
Exactly.
It's just, this is what it is.
The grind, the grind is there. So just accept it. Go with that flow.
Yeah. Get it done.
Yeah.
Get after it.
And then get after it. Yeah.
I love it, dude. That's such a good mindset. Like, especially with the beginner piece. Like, yes, it's okay to be a beginner. And I think, like you said, like, try and make fun of yourself a little bit. Like, go listen to my first episodes of this thing. It's the worst thing you'll ever hear. It's so bad. It sounds like I'm talking like this. It's so bad. And I have no idea what I'm talking about. But, like, I've been doing this for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, I knew it was going to be hard doing it.
Yeah.
And just committed to it.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I think that's such a good mindset, dude.
I love it.
What a good way to close out.
Perfect ending.
You're the man, dude. I appreciate the hell out of you for coming out here.
Dude, I appreciate you.
This
You're
is-
a role model for me.
It's
I don't know what
freaking
you're
fun.
talking
No,
about.
dude. I mean, that's the thing is like everyone has things that we can learn from. And even that guy who pulled a gun on you, you could probably learn something from him about the cartel.
I did.
Dude, you're the man. I appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
And everyone else, thanks for listening. Rate the show if you liked it at all, and as always, keep getting after it. Dude, you're the man.
Dude, you're the man.
That was freaking good.